The evolution in modern-day workplace has moved conversations to questions like, should the millennials and generations use work from home? How much freedom should they be given? What is expected of you as an employee in the 21st century workplace? My guest is your modern-day human resource professional. As a millennial, Ibitoye Martins helps in creating for a more friendly workplace with her message. Hello everyone and welcome to the Breaking the Coconut Show. Yes, my name has not changed. My name is Charles Umeh. So today I have an amazing guest. She's pretty. And it's a she, now you heard it's a she. So hello guest.
Hi, good evening.
So let's get to meet you. So who are you?
I'm a millennial, happily so. My name is Ibitoye. I'm a human resource manager with a non-profit organization here in Nigeria. Okay. I am a career advisor. I'm a HR expert. I'm a human resource consultant, recruitment consultant, and a headhunter.
Headhunter, I'll go with that.
Yes.
So Ibitoye, you're the face of you're a millennial headhunter.
Yes.
So how has your journey been? How do you evolve from, how did you embrace that career path and how has it been for you?
I embraced it because I had one of the most important qualities and characteristics of a regular average millennial today. Okay. I was ambitious. I studied law, but I found out that I wasn't interested in law. I had a heart for other things, but I wasn't sure at that time. So I made up my mind, you know what, I'm going to try my hands on different things. And I was going to make use of my NYSC period to do that. So while I was serving as a marketing executive, after studying law, I went on vacation and I met someone who introduced himself to me as a headhunter. I was completely fascinated. He told me a lot about his work, and when I go back to Nigeria, we did keep in touch until he called me one hot day and said, "Ibitoye, I have a meeting, I'm in France, I cannot make it in Nigeria, can you represent me? You're a marketing person, so I know you know how to talk to people." I wanted to change the world, so I was happy to do anything I was asked to do. I went in for the meeting and I sealed the deal for him. And then he says to me, "You need to fill the role for the company." I went on Google, did a lot of research, learned how to be a recruiter. I recruited a candidate for the client, and that was when I fell in love with recruitment.
And that was it for you?
That was it for me.
Perfect millennial. Now, see the good thing. You're the face of now, prior to now, HR used to be, how did you used to view HR?
I didn't even know they existed. Personnel management, people constantly settling disputes at work, shouting at people, putting laws that people hated to work in the workplace. That was my opinion of them.
But now?
Completely different.
Because you're involved?
Because I'm involved, yes. And because we see it as business partnering. We understand that human capital is the most valuable asset to any organization. Sure. And if your company wants to fulfill its vision, it has to have the right people. So as a HR person in this year, in this season, when I look at my role, I don't see it as personnel management. I'm seeing it as partnering with the business to help them to fulfill their vision by managing the people that help them to do the work.
Cool. And that sounds good. Now, in this era, all over the world, the workplace have this normal complaint that there's this group of people called millennials that finally have come in to put spanner to the work of work in 2018 and beyond. Now, the biggest question is, these people feel entitled.
Yes.
And yeah, they want to change the world. Yes. They have an unusual heart. But you're the HR, you've been able to, you belong to this category. How has it been for you as a millennial headhunter in the workplace? And how has the change in the workplace really affected your work? So
to be quite honest, when I started recruiting for organizations years ago, I struggled. I would get angry when I saw that people were applying for jobs very haphazardly. But when I began to understand that generation of people, I understood that it wasn't like they didn't care. It's not like they didn't want to apply for jobs properly. But they are fast thinkers. They think you want me to work for you. All you need is a CV that's telling you that. Why do I have to introduce myself? Why do I have to put body of an email? Just take the CV, look at it. If I fit it, get me in. So initially, I struggled with that. But as I began to understand them, I realized that we need to make changes. The older generation would have to make changes to accommodate them. Same thing working as a HR manager in a company now. I say to myself regularly, these people are technology savvy. If you hire these people, you're not going to give them working tools. They are going to struggle. You're going to suffer for it. And instead of complaining, the older generation needs to make changes. Same thing with work-life balance. They grew up seeing their parents not having their time, abandoning them. A regular millennial will tell you, why do I have to come to work 8 to 5 every day? I can get the work done at 2 a.m. in the morning. Why do I have to come that early? But the older generation would say, I have been doing this for 25 years. I'm successful in my career. Why shouldn't you do the same?
I've made much money.
Exactly. But they need to understand, that's the older generation needs to understand that if they want to get the best from these people, they need to be able to bend ways, because these ones want to change the world and they can do it in 20 minutes. They don't need 20 years.
True. So what has been the most recurring challenges you've seen in the workplace currently with the same set of people?
I would say it's just being able to manage them. So one of the things about being a HR person is you need to create policies that will favor the company and favor the employees themselves. What I see people struggle with is being able to change the policies they've had for 15 years to accommodate these people. A regular millennial likes attention. They crave attention. So gone are the days where you don't give feedback. Gone are the days where you don't tell them job well done. They will come and demand for it, and you would think that they're being rude, but they're not being rude. They crave that attention. So I see that in this generation, as a HR person, you need to be deliberate about doing things that will make these people comfortable. They like teamwork. They're very family friendly. A millennial is happy to go to the beach with his workmates and all of that, and an increase in salary. We don't understand it, but that is what works for them. That's what makes them feel loved. We are peculiar people, so we need to make the changes.
And in this part of the world, if you compare, like I said, Mark Zuckerberg is like the millennial president. And if you compare millennials in this part of the world to millennials everywhere in the world, what would you say marks the African millennial differently?
I think that a regular millennial outside of this country is confident, he's ambitious, he feels he can change the world, and he goes for it. A millennial here in Africa will not be allowed to be ambitious. They want to shut him down.
Why do you think this happens?
I think it's maybe just our culture. Maybe it's just because people feel you just came to work in my company, you're not giving me 100% attention, you want to go and do 10 different things. What they don't understand is the millennial has capacity to do 10 different things and excel in all.
And without even affecting you.
Without affecting your own work. So the African millennial wants to do great things. He's not permitted to do great things because his current organization would stifle him and tell him, when you work with us, you are not permitted to do anything outside of this work. Of course they will struggle, because maybe what they are doing for you is just 1/10 of the capacity that they have to do greater things as well. That for me is the major difference, because outside this country, they allow them to bloom. But we don't allow our kids, our millennials, to bloom.
So as HR, what's the way forward?
So as HR, I'm advising companies, I'm advising hiring managers, we need to go back and think. now that the major group in the workforce is made up of millennials, what are we going to do to make the workplace effective for them? What are we going to do to make the workplace more entertaining, more comfortable, and more desirous for them? Because that is why they resign.
Because most of them are not even resigning because
they don't like.
Find out the reasons. Find out the reasons. It's not even the money.
It's definitely not the money. They tell you, my boss won't allow me to be. My boss wants to micromanage me. I don't want to have to come to work every day. I want to be able to work from home. I'm more creative at night. Why do I have to come? We need to get to a place where HR is thinking of the future. There will come a time when we'll get more productive work from our employees who did the work overnight and slept throughout the day. So are you going to keep insisting that they come to work 8 to 5? What's really your vision? Do you want to get the job done, or do you want to frustrate a person? That should be what will be the determining factor for you.
But do you think most of them are that disciplined to be left to do it when they want to?
I believe that in as much as we want to allow them to be, we can also put structures in place. Yes, I understand that they can be flighty, they can be all over the place. I don't think that is even a factor of being a millennial. It's a factor of being who you are. I am a millennial. If I tell my boss I'm working from home, she trusts that I'm working from home.
Because you've paid
because
your
I have
dues,
paid my dues. I have earned that respect.
Yeah.
And that she knows that I would report, I will clock in, I will give my timesheets and all of them, but which is what HR can do. You can put structures in place. But to then say because you're afraid that they would not actually get the work done and then not allow them, you're going to get burned. Because regardless, the work is not going to get done.
Sure. Okay, now a case study of something happened sometime last year where an employee had immigration issue and he had to be sent out of the country. And his boss came out on LinkedIn and said, see, borders won't stop you. Even if you go, the US government sends you out, we're still going to work from home. Yeah. And the only reason a boss would say that about his own staff is that was his A guy. And he couldn't afford losing his A guy. And let's be real, what do we do in this era? You have a laptop connected to the internet, you have delivery.
That's what you need,
and you do. Now, I'm like, the first question I asked myself was, would someone in this part of the world say that of our own kind? Do we have people here? Because when that question came up, the question was like, that guy is good. And we live in an area of no borders. Now, do we think we have that kind of scenario here? Do we have the right people that you can finally... Can you trust the millennials of this era and say, come see, you're good and we don't care and you will deliver?
I think that we can. But I also think that it will be risky. But I think that we can, because we live in a country where, outside this country, everything works for you. If you work from home, you have constant light, you have data, you have internet that will not stop halfway.
Yeah, those are
you can
issues.
Deliver on your work.
Those are key issues.
A millennial will tell you he'll work from home. NEPA takes light, he's hot. He's going to go and play ball. He has moved on.
And he has told you.
Yes. And legitimately, he can't work in heat. So an employer is thinking, at least if you're in the office, I provided electricity, I provided AC, I provided comfort. But a millennial is telling you, yes, but I would still rather do it at home. So really, I don't think we've gotten to a point where employers will be able to trust that if they say work from home, you will do it effectively and give them the same amount of 100% work that they require. That's why they want you to come to the office, because then they have HR who's checking, they have your line manager who's checking and all of that. But we need to understand, if we want to get the best from the millennials, we need to be able to compromise.
They don't micromanage them well. They hate being micromanaged.
Yes, because they think they're smart enough. They don't understand why you're breathing down their necks. You gave me a job to do. I'm going to do the work now. Why are you checking on me? So I think what HR needs to do, we need to start creating policies and structures that would enable the work of the future workplace. That's what we need to do. Yeah. Because if you tell an employee to work from home, there are timesheets. He can clock in. You can see that from your desk at work. You don't need to go to his house to verify if he's doing the work.
Yeah.
If he has KPIs you have set for him, the most important thing is he meeting his KPIs? Is it really about reporting at 8 o'clock, or it's about doing the work? What if the millennial is more creative at 2 a.m. in the morning? Are you going to insist he comes to work when he's sleepy, he's drowsy, he's uncomfortable? What really is your vision as an organization?
Fit for creative, that's what normally happens.
Exactly. That's why when you tell, you see, I have organizations who tell me, I'm looking for somebody to manage digital marketing or social media for me. They want the millennials. Why? Because they know that they know the work. They will stay up at hours when you've gone to bed, researching, understanding the sector, knowing what is going on. But if you tell them, okay, let them come and work with you full time and let them do what they are doing, no.
You lose them. What has been your most recurring problems most people complain to you about in this era?
Attitude. Yes. They say the millennials are rude. They say they are overambitious. They say they feel entitled.
Okay, let's start with overambitious. Overambitious is not. I think it's like, I think it's being assertive. I'm making a case for them.
Okay.
It's being assertive.
I think overambitious. I think that is subjective. What is overambitious to me may not be overambitious to you. I think the regular employer who is of the older generation is used to achieving things in a certain way.
Yes.
He's used to focusing on that one thing and getting it done and bringing results. An average millennial has capacity to do 10 things and excel doing 10 things.
And those 10 things, that one thing might just be his own fuel.
Exactly.
That might just be what spurs him to do
everything. Exactly. So the biggest challenge that millennials have is I come and work with you, but you prevent me from doing other things, which would also give me joy, which will make me happy, which will make me feel productive. An average millennial wants to change the world. They're not just thinking of getting a job. They want to come up with something new that can make life better. But how would they do that if all they do is come and do finance for you 8 to 5 every day? It's not going to work.
True. So what's the way forward, HR?
So my recommendation to organizations, to hiring managers, to human resource managers, to CEOs, we need to face the reality that the majority of our workforce is made up of millennials. We need to start creating structure, creating policies that would accommodate these people. We already know what their characteristics are. They are technology savvy. They like work, they're concerned about family. Work-life balance is important to them. They like teamwork. They love to be left alone. They want to be able to spread their wings and fly. They want to bloom. We need to start creating policies that will permit this. Enough with the strict 8 to 5. Enough with when you come in, sign in, and I'm going to check. If you didn't come, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to reduce your salary. They don't really care about the money. What they care about is being allowed to bloom. And we need to create policies that would enable that.
Now, personally for you, V, you've been able to bloom because you've found your own why.
Yes.
I guess. Now, what do you think helped you completely to finally bloom?
I think my current job, to be quite honest, everything that I am today, I had capacity to be that person until I found a boss who believed in millennials and allowed me to bloom. To be quite honest, I have worked in organizations and I always wanted to do what I'm doing today for the average millennial in the workplace, and I couldn't do it because they were strict with their policies. But I have a current boss who believes in our capacity to do much more, who encourages millennials to go and change the world. She believes that if we push these people, they will get the work done. So why are we covering them up? That is why I've been able to bloom. If every CEO was like my CEO, would have changed the world by now, I can assure you.
So imagine we've lost several.
Yes, yes. It breaks my heart because as a recruiter, I still meet clients today who would tell me, if I want you to recruit a millennial for me. And when I tell them the things we need to do to keep those millennials, they're not ready. I have millennials who leave jobs and go and resume somewhere else, and they resign after a month, regardless of how enormous the salary is. Why?
Very true.
Because they are not being allowed to bloom. I remember that I shared a case study with you, a client that I had in the insurance industry who wanted someone creative, someone fun. I recruited a candidate for them. They were excited when he came on board. A month later, the guy called me that he needed to resign. Why? Because this organization was set in their ways. They were not ready to come out of their comfort zone. They wanted to be big like the other organizations they admired, but they were not ready to make the changes that those organizations had made, which was to allow millennials to have their way. So he couldn't because he had creative ideas. He wanted to be able to work from home. There were things that he thought of at 2 a.m. he wanted to be able to do. But then again, he's thinking, the company doesn't even allow me to take my laptop home. I don't even have data, extra data at work to take home. I have to wait till I get to the office to be able to log in. The guy couldn't cope. Because in his mind, it wasn't a job. It was an opportunity for him to change the creative space. And they were not allowing him.
True. That hurts because that's what we all lose. And this is what I'm going to. See what happens to the cycle of people like that. They get frustrated. They jump out. They become entrepreneurs. Now, the glamour of entrepreneurship is so... I believe most people, if they had that place of work that gave them the opportunity to bloom, they would have no business becoming entrepreneurs.
Yes, I totally agree with you because the attraction for them to go to entrepreneurship is that they can manage their time, is that there's nobody breathing down their neck, is that they are able to set KPIs for themselves and they're able to achieve it because then they create the rules, they create the policies to fit who they are. If organizations were willing to make those changes, I can assure you that we would have lesser people going to entrepreneurship. And the current businesses will run more effectively. Because the reason why millennials will run away is because you're not making the workplace effective for them. But when they go into entrepreneurship, they struggle because they don't really have what it takes to be entrepreneurs. True. So how do we create a balance?
True.
Organizations have to start thinking, this new generation, they're going to be here and they're going to be here. The generation that is coming is much more worse. Yep. So if you are currently a CEO and you're not thinking of creating a workplace for the future, I don't know what you're doing.
Okay, Evie. Now, this is one interview that has got me gobsmacked. I'm quiet because somehow everything you've talked about is now, is about now. It's not something, it's not theory, something we've seen. It's not something you read from books. It's like an experiential knowledge. Now, I'm a millennial. I've listened to you. I've listened to everything we've talked about today. And I really want to make out something from my own life. And I really want to catch into every knowledge you've shared. What will be your own last words for me?
I would say that you need to be patient. As a country, we've not gotten to the point where we can support you, but we will get there. So pending when we get there, be patient.
And be useful. Be
useful, add value, and eventually you'll be allowed to bloom. I have paid my dues, which is why I'm being allowed to bloom now. I can assure you that if I wasn't patient, if I had tried to conquer the world earlier than I did now, I would have burned so many bridges, I would have stepped on so many toes. I won't enjoy the favor that I currently enjoy with my boss. So that's what I would advise you. Be patient and wait for the older generation to catch up. They will.
Would you say finally you've broken your own coconut? I caught you there.
Ha! I bought the coconut. I'm holding it. I'm on my way to breaking it, but I'm sure pretty soon.
Okay, good. Are you Nigerian?
Yes, I am. Completely.
How many languages do you speak? Nigerian languages?
None.
None?
Why do you want to fold my hand? I'm an Ajebo.
Interesting.
No.
Makes it interesting.
No, but I speak only English.
Good. But you're Nigerian?
Yes, I am Nigerian.
Now, we'll let you say breaking a coconut in your own dialect.
I don't even know what break, the, and coconut is in Bini.
How?
My dad is going to kill me.
It's better he kills you.
Because I never learned my language.
But that's unfair, Ivy.
Unfair to who?
Unfair today.
Why? Why?
Because you have to say it. You have to say breaking the coconut in your dialect, apart from English.
Please, people should give me another assignment.
The camera is counting.
Please give me another assignment. I really, I'm so blank. Break, I don't even know. Okay.
Interesting.
I think it is. Hey God, I can't say it. I don't know. I can't. I really don't know. I promise that I would ask my dad tonight. I really do not know.
No, you have to ask him.
I would ask him.
No, do you mind calling? You could do a phone call.
Are you joking? No.
You could call a friend.
I think break is Gwogo in Bini. Yeah, but I don't know what the and coconut is. So Gwogo the coconut. That's the word.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Ibi, for coming. Now,
thank you, Charles.
You've carved the niche, even if you're not aware, as the millennial HR, and you're like the face of the new HR. And whether you like it or not, you still have several people bombard your box because they believe you're going to have solutions.
Yes.
And you're on that spotlight where everybody wants to learn from you.
Yeah.
And everything you've shared today is real. And I trust most of us on this set will also attest to the fact that this is what happens. And you didn't learn it from, so this was more experiential.
Yes.
Now, for you that have that mandate of being the new face of the workplace, it's saying, well done. Keep doing what you're doing. We're rooting for you from afar.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And keep breaking your own coconut whenever you choose to break. And
I
ask your dad what breaking coconut
I will. I will get it right next time.
Okay, thanks to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you. Now, this is the most important part where you have to break the coconut.
All right.